Here are the most common mistakes to avoid when working with a telescopic boom forklift. Mistake 1. Operating the equipment without training. When you're not familiar with a piece of equipment, you risk making a mistake while maneuvering. Before operating a telescopic boom forklift, you have to complete adequate training. Always familiarize yourself with the equipment being used and the safety rules. Mistake 2. Neglecting to inspect the equipment. If preventative inspection is neglected, you may fail to detect problems that could cause failures and accidents. The operator must perform a visual and functional inspection every day or at the start of each shift and fill out the inspection sheet. If the equipment is defective or broken, do not use it and notify your supervisor. A trained and qualified technician must perform an inspection every 200 hours or as recommended by the manufacturer, and an annual inspection which includes lifting capacity every year or every 2,000 hours. Mistake 3. Driving on unstable ground. Unstable ground can cause overturning. Before driving, make sure that the terrain is free of bumps, holes, and debris. Before moving a load, the equipment must rest on a stable and level surface. You need to ensure that the ground is still adequate after showers and during freeze-thaw periods. Never drive on slopes that exceed the maximum values established by the manufacturer. And always stay 3 meters or more away from any excavation. Mistake 4. Driving without a seatbelt. Without a seatbelt, you can be seriously injured or even killed if the equipment overturns. Wear the seatbelt at all times, regardless of the type of forklift, even when there is a protective frame or a closed cabin. There is one seatbelt for one person in the cabin. That means that passengers are not allowed in the cabin, on the step, or on the forks. Mistake 5. Driving recklessly. You need to be aware that your behavior behind the wheel is very important. Maintain a safe distance from other vehicles, equipment, and materials on the site to avoid hitting them. Drive slowly, avoiding sharp turns and turns on slopes. And keep your eyes in the direction you are going. Mistake 6. Operating blindly. If you cannot see where you're going, there's a risk of hitting something or someone. Since you have to move with the load lowered, it can block your field of vision. If the load blocks your view, if you cannot see where you need to place the load, or if you must carry a load at height, you must have the help of a signaler. Mistake 7. Not paying attention to pedestrians. Forklifts have several blind spots and take time to come to a stop. Pedestrians are not always aware of this. That is why a safety perimeter must be established to prevent workers from moving in the operation area. You have to ask them to stay away when the forklift is picking up or dropping off loads, and make sure they have seen you before proceeding. When the site is busy, a signaler has to assist you. Mistake 8. Poorly managing the load. When the load is high and extended, it can easily shift the center of gravity and cause the forklift to overturn. Always respect load limits according to height, mast extension distance, and lifting angle. It may be necessary to use stabilizers to optimize load capacity and stabilize maneuvers. Refer to the manufacturer's instructions to know when they must be deployed. Never transport unbalanced or unstable loads to prevent objects from falling. Mistake 9. Abandoning the controls when the load is lifted. You are always responsible for the lifted load. If you leave, there is no one at the controls to manage the situation if something happens. Always lower the load if leaving the controls, even momentarily. Mistake 10. Modifying an accessory. It is strictly forbidden to modify an accessory. Always use accessories according to the manufacturer's guide and consult the specific lifting chart. Like the forklift, accessories must be inspected daily and annually. Mistake 11. Using the forklift in bad weather conditions. The wind can cause overturning when the load is lifted. It is important to respect the maximum values with the mast fully extended and to avoid operating the forklift during thunderstorms. Mistake 12. Working too close to power lines. You can get too close to the wires without realizing it. When possible, avoid maneuvers under electrical wires. But when it isn't possible, you must be sure to respect the approach distance. And the forklift must be equipped with a range-limiting device. Don't forget that forklifts are primarily designed to lift loads. If you want to lift people, it is preferable to use an aerial lift. Turn to the APCHQ's prevention programs and action sheets for more details and all the safety instructions you need to know.